welcome to the Royal Geek Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Justin Sandoval, aka Sandy, and I am joined, as always, by Anthony Amato, who we like to call Shamato. That's right, there is no Tyler tonight. T-Roll is off to Florida. Yeah, he actually, Shamato, he actually dropped by my house today, give me the podcast equipment.
Yeah.
And he pulled up at a rental car, a freaking Mustang convertible, and he's going to be spending 6 hours in a convertible down to Florida. So
I hope it rains.
yeah, I hope it rains on him too, actually. But yeah, so good for him. Enjoy your time in Florida, T-Roll. You have something to listen to on the way back home. So
Yeah.
Anyway, all that being said, thank you so much to all of our listeners out there. We really do appreciate you. So you can engage with us, follow us, and interact on our socials at Royal Geek Pod on all the major socials. And yeah, if you feel like, sending us in an email, go ahead and do that at the Royal Geek Podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to interact that way as well. So yeah, and you know what? A 5-star review does go a long way too. So feel free to drop that in there as well. So Shamato and I are usually the resident movie guys. So every time T-Roll leaves, which he tends to do around summertime, at least once, because we've done this topic before. We have done a summer movie preview before, and we have quite a bit of movies to get through. So there are actually, it's weird saying, not saying spoiler alert. There's no spoilers.
Yeah.
These are all movies that are coming out, and you can watch their trailers, like for most of them. So we're going to break down some anticipated summer movies and some movies that just we're looking forward to in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, right off the bat, summer movie season is strange because technically May is not summer, but it's like on the fringe of summer. And we've already seen Thunderbolts, and we've already seen Mission Impossible. So check the links in our description box for the reviews on those podcasts, breakdowns. And but yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and breeze through those since technically Thunderbolts was the kickoff of summer movie season. Shamato, what does the summer movie season mean to you?
It just means like an endless flow of. It used to be like just all this new content, and now it's almost like it's almost like a reunion with old properties in a lot of ways. It seems like it's almost like, oh yeah, I remember Jurassic World exists. Oh yeah, I remember this exists. Mission Impossible exists. It's almost like that. It's like you're seeing old friends show up, and you're getting reacquainted with them.
Yeah, no, exactly. Honestly, a lot of these movies on here are either remakes, sequels, or different properties getting a kind of newer flair to it.
Yeah.
Or new life. So it's kind of interesting that we've come to this point in Hollywood where it's just regurgitation, kind of.
Honestly, from my count, I think there's only 4
Originals
that are not or that are our originals on here.
Okay. We'll make sure we'll cover those a little bit more lengthy then, just because, I mean, original properties I think deserve a bigger place in the medium of movies and film.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just jump into it. All right, like I already mentioned, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible, those kind of kicked it off in the month of May. Also in May, you can't go wrong with a kids movie. Lilo and Stitch is also out now. We are unfortunately not reviewing it, but watched it with my kids, and I know Shamato, you've seen it too.
Yep.
So yeah, Lilo and Stitch can't go wrong with Stitch, dude. Like he's a fan favorite across many, many, many different age groups. So that's always been fun. What did you think about Lilo and Stitch?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was, it was a good storytelling. I think they got a good Lilo, and overall, I'll try to keep it kind of vague since we're not trying to give away too many spoilers. Just I feel like for the most part it told a good story. It was pretty much faithful with the animated version. And one thing I did really enjoy is I do like the fact that they got back the original the original Nani and the original David, in Tia Carrere and Jason Scott Lee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yep. That was actually really cool. Which that's something you'll just see on the MDB page. Like that's not really that big of a giveaway.
Yeah.
But they have him playing different roles, which is always cool to see. There, it's like when the new Mulan came out. I love the fact that they actually got Ming Na Wen just for a moment to be like, hey, I exist.
Here's a nod to the original.
Yes.
Exactly. That's cool, man. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, Lilo and Stitch, definitely check that out. All right, the next one coming out here is it's interesting. It's a blend of two different. I mean, same franchise technically, but it's a blending of them, and it's the Karate Kid Legends. So we get Ralph Macchio back, who obviously Cobra Kai, very popular
Yes.
series, streaming on currently on Netflix, extremely popular. So he's kind of had his revitalization. Oh gosh, I can't even speak tonight. Revitalization
Yes.
as an actor. And so, but then we get the Karate Kid that was quote unquote a reboot with Jackie Chan.
Yes.
He is back as a sensei, and the crazy. Obviously, the movie's coming out in a couple weeks or next week, and dude, the one thing that I found very fascinating is they held a martial arts tournament to find the lead child of this
Yeah.
movie, which I thought was absolutely incredible. So the lead actor for who is the student here in this movie, he is his very first gig, and he got it because he won a martial arts tournament.
I do think that's really cool when movies try to do some realism and things like that because, like, and for the most part, you usually see this happen in sports movies actually, where like you can really tell there's a real dearth of natural talent lots of times in these actors.
Yeah,
Like one movie I can think of that actually does a good job is actually like Little Big League is actually like going way back. There's the thing if you didn't know, they actually held tryouts for the actors before they cast them. So
wow,
they had to prove that they could at least like
throw a ball,
somewhat handle themselves
right?
before that because we've all seen the crazy things. We've all seen we've all seen Robbie Amell in the Duff, that little gif of him just making the most awful throw that you've ever seen. And I do think that the same thing that can happen in like a karate movie where you're
Oh,
just
for
like
sure.
you just have somebody who just doesn't have a natural feel for it, and then you just gotta like push.
Honestly, I think it's easier to train somebody to act than it is to train them to be a kung fu master. Like I feel
I
like
would think so. Yeah.
but I mean, sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes an actor can like they do method acting or
Yeah.
they dive into the community and culture, and that becomes their
Yeah,
identity.
it is. It's interesting because there are some people that can do it,
Yeah.
and then there's other people you're like, this person should not be on camera.
Yes,
Like there's just
exactly.
something that is just lost in their eyes. Like they're just
Yeah.
not there.
Ah, man, that's so true. Thing that comes to mind is Gladiator 2, Paul Mescal. He didn't really fit the warrior type. I enjoyed his acting in the movie, but like
Yeah,
I don't know, I wasn't buying the warrior type. That was
yeah. I mean, there were definitely moments with him that I was like a little bit. I didn't feel like he necessarily fit
yeah,
the role.
phenomenal actor,
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal
yeah.
actor.
But there were definitely moments where I was like, this isn't really
Yeah.
him necessarily. So I do agree with that. There are just sometimes things just don't line up. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, Karate Kid Legends. I'm looking forward to that more than I thought I would. So that's good. And then the following week, in June, the first week in June, we have Ballerina, a John Wick story or a John Wick saga. This is in the John Wick universe, obviously,
yes,
and Wick is apparently in this movie. We saw in the trailers.
and we've seen at least two solid scenes of him.
Correct, in the
Like
trailers.
so, like in the newest trailer, they added an extra scene of him. So
Yeah.
it's like because initially it looked like he was just going to be in this one little scene.
One cameo scene. Or
Yeah,
something
which
like
I was
that.
like, okay, yeah, but then they added this extra scene at the end of the most recent trailer release. So I'm
It's got
like,
to be two scenes max. I don't think it's anything else because you want to let the story kind of tell itself without having to
yeah,
piggyback
like
off
him to
of.
be too overshadowing of
Right.
a character.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing Ana de Armas in a role like we saw a brief moment of her in this type of role in 007 movies,
Yes,
or the one movie.
or even what is it, the Gray Man?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, wait, was it Great Man? I don't think.
The one with Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was the Great Man. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, she was like the secondary person who was helping Ryan
So
Gosling
she's
out.
kind of dabbled in these roles
She
of
has.
recent, and even Ghosted. She was a
Yes,
assassin
yes, she
in
was. She
Ghosted.
was
Okay,
in that. Yeah.
so apparently she's gonna be a next
Yeah,
action
apparently,
female
yeah,
star. So
yeah. And it's not like you. And also, what would be good is because like, Iron Arms doesn't need like John Wick to be all over the screen for her to for her to have her acting. You know, like
right,
it's not like they picked like a no-name actress. We're gonna continue the franchise with this new person, but we're gonna use John Wick to like help pull you in.
yeah.
Ana de Armas has her own like pull.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah. For sure. Easily, she can easily hold her own. And I think just the story of the ballerina in the Wick universe, like the Red Room, and like
Yeah.
it's like the Black Widow origin story, essentially.
Yeah. Very
The
similar.
Russian mob, like taking orphan children and teaching them how to be assassins slash ballerinas. Like it's interesting, I'm looking forward to this so much,
Yeah.
dude. I love a good action movie. And I need to look and see who's doing the stunt choreographs for this movie.
Yeah.
I think that it. I don't know if it's Stahelski again. I don't know, but if it is, then it's gonna be we're in for a wild ride for this movie as well.
Yeah.
All right, and then believe it or not, this is like 3 weeks in a row. Here we had the Karate Kid ballerina, and then we get the live action adaptation of How to Train a Dragon, which first off, when the first How to Train a Dragon movie came out, I'm telling you, this movie stayed my number one movie for like 5 years. Like
It
it was
was,
amazing,
and
absolutely
honestly, it
amazing.
kind of came out of. It feels like it came out of nowhere when it was released.
Yes,
Because I think it was kind of at that point where, going back in time, it was at one of the heights of Disney, and so DreamWorks. This was like one of those like it was one of the few times where they were to punch through that like that that Pixar wall at the moment because it was really in like the lead time of Pixar where they were just owning everything. They were like everything they were putting out was a banger.
yeah, I feel like it was for the Academy Awards. It was like it was the Pixar Award for so many years.
Yeah, so it breaking through was really really um was really cool and it was important because it really helped put a
Yeah,
place for because up until then it felt like DreamWorks had been on a little bit of a dry spell since like the Shreks
yeah,
um at that point, and then they kind of like came through with this, and then they started
Kung Fu Panda
and
and
yeah.
oh
Well, I
shoot,
think even at that point, I think Kung Fu Panda might have already come out, but it would have been, I don't know if maybe the second one had come out yet, and it was kind of like we didn't know there was going to be more at
mm,
that point, and I think it was a little bit later for like Despicable Me
yeah, it was.
and stuff like that. So it was kind of like it was kind of once again like DreamWorks being like, "Hey, we still exist," like type of thing. So I do think it was a very important series, and also the fact that it was just like super solid, like.
Yeah.
And then the fact that all three of them end up being solid movies was, I think, really important for DreamWorks in their building of their own brand.
Yeah. And how do you feel like as we've seen the trailers for How to Train a Dragon? How do you feel about it potentially being a shot-for-shot remake?
Honestly, that's exactly what's on my mind about this movie.
Yeah.
Is I'm a little worried that it will be just that, to the point to where like there will be no extra nuance because I think one of the biggest things that a live action can do is add more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because although and it may be harder with How to Train Your Dragon because How to Train Your Dragon was such a was did have like a pretty solid deep storyline, whereas
Yes.
a lot of animated movies when they're originally made. So for example, like Sleeping Beauty, like those type of movies,
Mm.
they're a little more shallow because of the fact that there's usually shorter run times. So they don't have the chance to flesh
No
out
depth.
some of that stuff.
And sometimes the amount of emotion that you can convey with human faces compared
Yeah.
to animated is so different. You can actually build on it with the emotions that they're portraying.
And it's also about the age range that you're going for. Like a lot of times, like the age range of some of those older anime movies we're going for, like maybe like 6 to 10,
Yeah.
like in that age range. Whereas when usually you're signaling that I'm going for more like 8 to 14
Hmm.
when you go to live action. So I think How to Train Your Dragon was already kind of a little bit aged up
Yeah.
even more, because it dealt with like a lot more like
Oh,
like
dude, father son
yeah,
drama, which is
father son drama,
pretty deep.
dealing with the death of his mother, dealing with his ostracization from the society in
Yeah.
general.
Oh yeah.
As this outsider. So it'll be interesting to see if they can add some depth,
Yeah.
because it does feel like I think we've seen a lot of times where it's just like when they do just like copy paste,
Yeah.
but make it live action,
Here's
you don't feel like you're getting the life.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. You mentioned life, but I feel like when you do a shot-for-shot remake from an animated to live action, sometimes yes, you get the great scenes that you saw, but you lose the heart
Yeah,
because the one movie that comes to mind, and I will say this until the day I die, but when they went from the animated Lion King to the
oh
CGI Lion
yes,
King, yeah, sure, it was shot for shot remake, but you lost the heart like 1,000%. There was
yeah,
You literally ripped the soul out of the animated movie
yeah.
and put it on screen as a quote unquote CGI live action. Like,
Yeah, it was almost like you were literally just like it was like he was wearing like a skin mask.
you know what?
Like that's what it felt like.
You know what's funny? I believe I said this before on the podcast, but like James Earl Jones, obviously he did the voice of Mufasa in the original,
Yeah.
and he did in the remake. But I really feel like he did a horrible job in the live action. The voice and role of Mufasa, obviously he's Darth Vader, so you can just throw that away. But Mufasa is one of his best roles ever,
Yeah.
and it's also one of his worst roles ever. Like it's just how
Yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like there was just I feel like there was a lot less effort done for the second
Oh
for
yeah.
them doing it, and I think that is something that can also happen in these movies where it's just like we know what we have in our hand. People are going to come anyway. Why do we have to put in effort?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And the one line in the whole Lion King movie. I know we're on a tangent here, but I have to because I'm so enraged right now. But the one line in the Lion King movie that told me that there was no heart was in the first act of the movie, and Scar is being confronted by Mufasa about not going to Simba's little ceremony. And
Yeah.
when Scar turns around and Mufasa says, "Don't turn your back on me, Scar," in the animated movie, it's so powerful. But in
Yeah.
the live action remake, it's so flat, dead, and you're like,
Yeah.
"You're the king. Get out of here, dude! Like,
Yeah.
kick rocks." And it's so frustrating, so
I do
frustrating.
like the fact that they actually got Gerard Butler to come back
That yes,
to
that
play the
was
father.
that's very. It's such a good because he honestly he's got the look, man.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
he's
yeah,
got the
like
look.
honestly, they were just like, yeah, they just made an animated version
And
of Gerard Butler.
honestly, dude, I feel like he's gonna portray that role even more. Like you're gonna be like, I kind of don't like you at all, and then when in the transition happens, you're like, you're actually a cool dude. Like he's gonna hit
Yeah,
all the notes all the right way, dude. And I cannot wait for that, dude. All right. So moving on, I think there's a week gap here between movies, but Disney's saying, "Hold up, DreamWorks, I see you doing a live action here. What we're going to show you that we still rule animated, and they're coming out with Elio. It is
yes,
the next Disney property coming out, and trailers they look interesting. I feel like it's like a friendship that was not supposed to be formed, but it works out anyway, and you learn a lot about relationships between friends, obviously,
yeah,
and your place in the world. So
yeah. I think that's where it's going. I don't know what it does feel like. It has the boom bust potential in
correct,
my
yeah.
mind.
This is
Like,
Strange
could
Worlds
this
all
be,
over again.
or could this be Luca?
I didn't mind Luca. I didn't mind
Luca
Luca.
was all right, but I feel
I'm
like it
thinking of
was,
Strange Worlds, man, because Strange Worlds
yeah,
the trailer looks so cool for Strange Worlds,
yeah.
and then you watch the movie and you're like, what the heck is
Yeah,
this?
I mean, I mean, I enjoyed Luca, but I didn't feel like it was like top
No.
tier. Like maybe not. It wasn't a bust,
Luca
but
got the attention that Soul should have gotten because,
oh my gosh,
dude,
Soul was so good.
Soul was a top tier movie, like,
It's
absolutely top tier
phenomenal.
movie,
Yes.
and it didn't get anywhere near the love that
Unfortunately, like
Luca
yes,
got.
Soul had too much soul in it. Like honestly,
Literally, yeah, literally, yeah,
like play on words slash
yeah.
reality.
You felt something in every aspect of your body,
Yeah,
like your heart, your mind, dude. You felt it everywhere. Um, so yeah, I don't know. You're right. It has boom or bust.
yeah,
This would be the one where like high draft pick in the NFL. You're like, this guy is going to be like a Hall of Famer, and they draft him high, and you put him on the field, and the dude can't read a play or a coverage, and he is done. Like that's what I see this potentially happening. But on the flip side of that, one bad year, he gets good coaching in the second year, and he comes back. Literally, he's Peyton Manning year one,
Yeah,
who was a terrible quarterback in year one,
yeah,
and then he comes on to be a Hall of Famer. It
yeah.
could be exact same
How
thing.
many quarter? Actually, happens to quarterbacks all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of the great quarterbacks were like, ooh, year one. But anyway, yeah, I do feel like it has that potential. Like I don't know, maybe 6 months from now, people like it's like the new movie.
Yeah.
I do think there is like an underlying theme in a lot of like Pixar where they're if they sing, it's gonna be highly seen. If they do not sing, then it is generally kind of forgotten.
I mean, I'm taking the kids to see the movie. My daughter likes it when they sing. My son does not like it when they sing. So, I mean, you got a point there. You do. I, oof,
I don't know if there's just like more it's staying power because of the fact they sing.
yeah,
Because you're talking about like you thinking recently like Frozen 2,
because you're having a
Moana,
conversation after the movie's
yeah, and then, or you're
aired.
listening to the song
Yeah,
like afterwards. Whereas I don't know if there's just something about the fact that I just feel like there isn't as much like attention paid to where
yeah,
if they're just acting,
yeah.
you know.
And I will say the trailer did have one little scene that honestly made me laugh harder than I should have.
Yeah,
You watched the trailer, right? The new one
yeah,
or the newer trailer or whatever. Uh, when I don't know if I forget Gordy or something like that, the monster-looking
yeah.
alien. He's like he brings him to this cave and there's like fire and lava and Elio's like I'm not fireproof. He's like, well, get in my mouth, and he like jumps in his mouth. And Elio's like, "Hey, it's actually kind of roomy in here."
Yeah.
And Gordy's like, "Oh, I've never been in there." And I was like, "Dude, that's too funny, too cute. Love it, dude." All right. Anyway, so yeah, we're looking forward to Elio. We will definitely be seeing that movie. All right, and we get another couple weeks here. I think it's a 2 week gap between movies, but we definitely amp it up. We go from kids movie to a cult. Would you call it a cult horror or cult dystopian cult
Yeah, it's
thriller cult? Like I don't know. 28 Days Later was a phenomenon when that movie came out.
yeah,
It was one of those rare, like extremely low budget movies that took off and just like it captured the world by storm. Like I feel
yeah,
like when that came out, and then this one is 28 years later. We also had the in between 28 weeks later,
yes,
which was not as good as 28 days, but still kind of held its own.
yeah. I think it'll be interesting because, like you said, it was kind of it was although there wasn't a whole lot of like very very unique takes on the zombie universe
Yeah,
in this. It felt very like different than a lot of the other type of zombie movies and things like that, or the
right.
way that things were going. Like it didn't feel like Walking Dead. It didn't feel like Dawn of the Dead or any of those types of movie setups or World War Z.
Right.
It was somewhere on its own in a lot of ways. It felt more like, honestly, if I had to guess, more towards like a Last of Us type of feel.
Yeah.
Like if I had to give it somewhat of a comparison.
Yeah, I can see
But
Last of Us, but I feel like also like obviously zombie type movies like they're their own thing, but I feel like this type of movie belongs in like more of like the monster universe where
yeah,
like with Dracula, werewolf, like I feel like that's where it kind of lives rather than like the in the
yeah,
zombie universe. Like because I feel like monster and zombie universes are different in my opinion,
yeah,
personal opinion. It makes no sense if you're thinking about it as like somebody who like doesn't pay attention to movies that much. You're like zombies are monsters too. Like why not? Like no, I think they have two
yeah.
separate categories.
Yeah, the way that movies are set up is very interesting because like true monster universes are distinctly different from other types of horror that have things that you would probably normally consider. There's a difference between a monster and a monster universe, and I think there is like nuance between the two.
Yeah,
And I do think you are right in the sense that like some movies will fit into one category and they even though it has the same quote unquote villain and or monster like species, it's in a different category than the zombie universe or the monster
Yeah.
universe, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but no, I'm definitely looking forward to this because this kind of will close out a trilogy that has spanned decades.
It's interesting because it's like it's one of those trilogies where you're like, I didn't know they were gonna do this.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, you know?
So out of left field for why they chose to do this in the first place. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very interested. The trailer does look good. The trailer does look really good. And Shimano, I think you and I are gonna have to see this together because I don't think anybody else I go to the movies with is in this. This isn't in their realm. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll definitely go check this out. All right, amping it up again. Tyrell and I have become over the last couple of years really huge into Formula One racing. And what are you going to do? Add Brad Pitt to the mix and give us a Formula One movie.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ask for a better story. F1, it comes out, Apple production, in theaters. And Brad Pitt is playing the role of that guy.
He's Bull Durham.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Like,
this is literally
honestly,
Boulder
like,
behind a wheel, dude.
yeah.
This is what this is. That's funny, dude. I like that actually. And so the trailer looks great, and the one thing is that it's a director from like Top Gun Maverick, and I feel like this is gonna be the same high octane. Like the race scenes are gonna be incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those movies where you would want to see either on IMAX or RPX or even 40X as well too. Like I feel like
Yeah, those could be all interesting. Maybe Screen X would actually be potentially worth it. In
yeah, I
this.
mean because for Top Gun Maverick, Screen X actually mattered
Yeah.
because you felt like you were in the cockpit of a fighter jet. So this might actually feel like you are in the driver's seat of a F1 car. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this movie big time. First off, because I feel like this is a role that Brad Pitt was meant to play. To be honest with you, I feel like as he's aged and where he's gotten to, where he's at in his life, like I feel like he is going to play this character to
Yeah.
perfection.
Like
Honestly,
just this an arrogant F1 driver. He's
yeah.
just a handsome, arrogant F1 driver, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this guy has everything. I just want to hate him so much.
Yep, exactly. But the funny thing is that he's kind of playing a guy who was like, he was good in NASCAR and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
But Formula One's a whole other league, and
Yeah, and he was never really that.
yeah,
Honestly, he's very similar to his role in Moneyball. Like Billy Bean, like he was this dude who, couldn't quite make it at the level, and now he's, trying to make one last run at
yeah.
greatness.
So yeah, no, dude. This movie I think is going to shock a lot of people. I think people are going to see it, but because like, oh yeah, I'll see what Brad Pitt's doing nowadays. Like he
Yeah.
kind of still has a little bit of star power. It's starting to fade. It's nowhere near as large as it was, but I think there's still some nostalgia behind that name.
Yeah.
All right. The following week on this one, you get reintroduced to the world for the second reboot of Jurassic Park / Jurassic World. So we are keeping the Jurassic World moniker, and Jurassic World Rebirth is the movie, and it stars Scarlett Johansson, which obviously she's had a really good track record of late. And it has Mahershala Ali, and dude,
She should have been Blade.
should have been Blade. Is it happening or is it not happening? Like that's the thing.
I think it's dead.
Dude, why did it die? I don't know. I feel like, dude, he was on board. If Mahershala Ali was on board, then you should have made that movie and pumped it out, man. Like I don't care. Like just make it happen. But it has the star power. It has the makings. Jonathan Bailey's in the movie, and he was in Wicked, and was fantastic, phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he was. He was phenomenal in it.
Yeah, and it has Rupert Friend from Acolyte, or not Acolyte. What was it? Obi-Wan when he was the Inquisitor.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anyway, this
I am worried about this.
this movie, Jurassic World, dinosaur movies. Let's just say that dinosaur movies they're gonna make money because they're dinosaurs. However, you and I mentioned this the other day. There's how many Jurassic movies, right? There's six. And only 2 of them are bangers. Like the rest of them are like
sort of fun to
we
watch if you're turn off your
overreached.
brain.
We overreached. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, obviously the first one is so iconic, and there's a
Yeah.
generation of people out there who are like, "That's my favorite movie of all time." Like, it bridged the gap between fantasy and reality, and like it brought your imagination to life, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. One of my biggest worries about this is the fact that when they rebooted it the first time, Chris Pratt, we had time to long for Jurassic Park. You
That's
know,
true.
like
That is true.
whereas here, I mean, essentially it's been maybe what 3 years maybe since the last Jurassic World movie came out,
I think
and
that's fair. Yeah.
and only probably like six since the first of the reboots came out, maybe 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
Maybe a little longer than that, but it doesn't feel like we have missed
Yeah.
Jurassic World. Like, and I feel like that's what the first one with him when Jurassic World came out. You were like, oh my, they're rebooting it. It's been so long since three.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. And you kind of had that glimmer of hope
Yes.
when that was coming
And then
out.
it was good enough to where you were like, okay, here we go, here
Yep.
we go.
Yep.
I'm in. And
Exactly.
then 2 and 3 were not
Three
at that same
especially.
par.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm reserved. I think that this has the potential to be really really good, but I most likely it's going to be really really bad.
I think so.
But at the end of the day, it's going to make a ton of money because dinosaurs sell, dude. I don't care what decade you live in, because
It's
it's going to
true.
make money no matter
Yeah,
what.
ever since we found out the dinosaurs exist, we were like,
Yeah.
we've been fascinated with them.
You're like,
And
I'm in.
and I will say, like, okay, I could be wrong, but like, has there been like a great movie that was a blockbuster where Scarlett Johansson was the lead?
The lead.
The lead.
Mm.
'Cause it seems like she's the lead in this.
It does seem like she's
Like,
leading this one.
and like,
And I think you're right. That I don't think there
I think that's the issue.
was. Yeah.
She's been parts of some like fantastic movies,
Yeah.
and most of her good movies are the lower budget ones, like
Yes.
or where she's like playing like side character, like things like Lost in Translation, getting into like movies like Jojo Rabbit, things like that. The movies where even getting into movies like Marriage,
Yeah.
like there usually she does better in the lower budget slash
Rom-com.
yeah, like rom-commy slash or being like the not the main character, like a secondary character, which happens a lot. There's a lot of actors or actresses who, because
The
of
role
their
players. Yeah.
yeah, well, because of their I was getting kind of going back to Brad Pitt, that because of their attractiveness they get pigeonholed into these lead roles in these blockbuster movies,
Yeah.
whereas they really should be
Support.
a character actor or a supporting character. Because Brad Pitt, honestly, when he's a secondary character, like he is like honestly
Top
in my
tier,
mind
man. Top tier.
top tier, like potentially Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
Like type of
I mean,
stuff.
he
Like,
honestly may be the best supporting actor
like
out there.
and honestly, like, the only one that like kind of like breaks that mold for me is like Moneyball, where he is the main character, but he isn't trying to play. I don't feel like he's trying to play that like main character.
Mm,
I'm the handsomest guy in the room, which
yeah.
I think they put him like that too often. I mean, like,
I mean, that it's
i-
hard not to,
yeah,
but
in Inglorious Bastards,
mean,
like, oh my, like
yeah.
that movie, he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, he is so good at that.
True, very true. So yeah, we're the jury's out on Jurassic World. We'll see how that goes. All right, the next movie on the list is a Netflix release. It's coming straight to Netflix, and if you may remember, way back, it
Yeah.
was this year one, right?
I think
I
so.
believe
It
it was
might have been 2020.
year one of the podcast in the drought of no content out there because of COVID, and people weren't going to movies, and it was just like productions delayed on a ton of stuff, all that kind of stuff. We reviewed Old Guard, and guess what? It's back, baby. Old Guard 2. And so, I mean, we got to review it, right? Like we have to. I feel like
We gotta keep
it's in the lore of the
we're-
Royal Geek Kingdom, man.
we got to be a completionist here.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, Old Guard 2 comes out. There's only been really pictures that kind of tease that the movie's coming out,
Yeah.
because May 31st is the Netflix like event, the Tadum event is coming out on May 31st, which we'll probably get a trailer then. Um, But yeah, Old Guard. It was a okay,
Yeah,
decent.
it was fun, and it was fun in the sense of like it was a little bit of a different idea
Yeah,
of
it
like these like timeless warriors essentially.
served a purpose. I mean,
You know, it was like, okay, yeah, we're in a shoot 'em up movie. You know, Charlize Theron is in it. You know, you can have some fun with it. It had some
yeah,
interesting like ideas to it at the very least, and it was unique enough to where you were like, oh yeah, like this is pretty cool. And of course, it was during 2020, during all the COVID stuff, so it was like it was something to have on, and it was fun enough in that time period.
yeah. So yeah, just keeping that on the radar. It's just a part of our lore, and I think it's something to look out for. All right, we're gonna start getting into
Super, the big boys.
big boys. Yep, yep. Get ready. So we move into and transition into Superman,
Yep.
DCU first official like full on production. DCU, led
Yes,
by James Gunn, directed by James Gunn. The vision of moving the DCU through James Gunn is happening with Superman. The release of Superman trailers look really good.
they
The
do.
most recent trailer that came out for me, I mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned this off the pod or on the pod, but last week, a couple weeks ago, I said that trailer sold it for me, and I think David Cornsweet is going to be a phenomenal Superman. I I obviously love and respect everything that Henry Cavill has done
Yeah,
for Superman, role of Superman, but also in the geek community as well. He is a true like,
he's an OG.
oh yeah, oh absolutely. But I do think Cornswell's going to do an amazing job, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say the only thing is it was sad to see the way that they played Cavill. Like, I just feel like
I
DC
know.
just toyed with him, moved him around. Like, I feel there was so much like awesome that could have been,
Yeah,
and it'll be unfortunate because I feel like there's potentially going to be a split. Because of the fact that like there was always that like, but what if with Henry Cavill? So it'll be interesting to see how the community reacts to his performance. Will it be like a refreshing, like, oh, this guy's really good, this guy's doing really good, or, I mean, or will it be more like, oh, I like the way Henry Cavill did it. I like,
yeah.
why didn't he
It,
get the shot?
it's always going to be there's the Snyderverse minions out there who are going to be there's no good in the world except for everything that Snyder touches, and
Yeah,
so
which is not
not
like,
true, not true at all. We're looking at you, Rebel Moon.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, also just the fact that like if you have to make a 5 hour cut of something, you don't know how to make a movie. Like I'm sorry, but
yeah,
like you just don't. Like I'll get like the Snyder cut was
good.
was
Yeah,
good, and it was definitely better than the original
but the
release.
fact you needed 4 hours to tell
But
your
yeah,
story
yeah,
is
if
a
it
bit
takes you
much.
that long,
Yeah,
then you're not good at storytelling.
yeah. So Shimano and I have high hopes for Superman. Obviously,
Yes.
we are DC loyalists, and
We might have to drug T-roll to get him into the theater.
yeah, it's gonna take a lot to even get him on the podcast to review a DC property.
Oh, I
So,
mean, it's hard enough to get him on the
dude,
pods in the
I'm
first
calling it
place.
now. I'm calling it now. He's not gonna be there. It's gonna be you and me and Jordan maybe,
Yeah.
or Steven. I don't know. It's whoever's out there interested in more Superman. Let's see. So anyway, we are looking forward to that. And then we get a little break in between superhero movies with a callback of a reboot that is happening that I did not see a reboot happening for this
Yeah,
franchise
me
at
either.
all. But I know what you did last summer. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is 2025, and I said I know what you did last summer. Did not expect this to happen. Obviously, we got Final
Nope.
Destination Bloodlines, which, by the way, how was that, Shimano?
It was better than I was expecting it to be.
That's what I
Honestly,
heard. Everyone's saying it's way
it,
better than you thought.
it was a solid movie, and one thing I really enjoyed was just the fact that they actually are trying to do storylines.
Hey,
Like,
how about that?
it's a novel idea.
So, without spoiling anything, I heard on the internet. I haven't watched the movie. I heard on the internet that there was one kill in that movie that was just like next level, like absolute buffoonery. That was incredible. Am I
Yeah,
right?
I'd say there was like one that was like it was insane. Like it was like yeah,
Okay, yeah. No, I need to watch
yeah,
it. I
and just
really
the
do.
insanity that it was all done in one room. Like
Wow.
it wasn't like a huge. or at least the one that I'm referring to, it wasn't in this huge like open space or like multiple rooms, things like that.
Yeah,
It literally happens all in one room.
that's pretty amazing. I love that. So, but anyway, so Final Destination came out earlier, obviously, but bringing it back. I know what you did last summer. You watched the trailer for this, yes?
I actually haven't,
You haven't? Okay, yeah.
but I know I mean I'm aware of
Of course, of course.
what they did last summer.
um, man, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is just a cash grab, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sold on this.
honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of horror film releases that are not around Halloween. Like this is
There's
like
summer in the name. There's summer in the title. It's got to be released in the summer.
yeah, but it's all about what you did last summer. Like it doesn't have to be in summer.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we'll see. It's a wait and see kind
Yeah.
of thing with this one.
I mean, I'm not expecting much from it. Although there's like this weird thing that sometimes happens with some of these movies where it's like a significant step above
Right.
the quality. So it'd be interesting because it was for some reason the first movie that comes to mind is like the Evil Dead reboot was way better than it needed to be a reboot of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No. I agree. And then what came from that? Nothing.
Yeah.
It should have been more.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. Let's jump back into the superhero world. How about that? The following week, we MCU. That's right. I said MCU is releasing another property. This is the third release of the year, and it's Fantastic Four. So Marvel's first family is getting a MCU treatment.
Yep. About time.
Yeah. Far too long. Far too long. Now, on previous pods, I have said that Marvel's back.
Yeah.
Will this continue the trend, Shamato, of Marvel being, in fact, back?
I mean, I think they put together a great Fantastic Four cast.
Yeah.
Trailers
look good.
Like I think the trailers look good.
Yep.
It'll be really interesting to see how it actually plays out.
Yep.
This will be definitely a huge step
Massive.
in the direction
Yeah.
of like them being truly back because we have talked. And my biggest thing is like they need to do it on the biggest stage, like not only with doing it on the big screen, but doing it with their biggest entities
Yeah.
in their biggest properties will be dramatically helpful, especially when it's a property where it's already had 3 movies previously, and they were all kind of 3 just there at best.
Yeah.
And not good at all at worst.
Yes. Yeah. So obviously, this is high hopes. I think throughout the entire fandom.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it plays out that way. I really am hopeful for this. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, getting Pedro Pascal to be
Hottest commodity in Hollywood.
yeah,
I think,
like
right now, to be
I
honest
mean,
with you.
honestly, like he has such a high hit rate, which is like everything that he does.
Yeah.
Just like the quality of everything.
Honestly, dude, I think Wonder Woman 84 might be his lowest ever, or
Yeah.
only miss. I don't know.
Like honestly, like I can't think of anything that he was in that's ever just been like awful,
Yeah.
other than like Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course that was marred in the whole DCEU
Yeah.
problem. And then Vanessa Kirby's been solid, and then of course getting Joseph Quinn. I think he's probably the most, in my mind, he seems like he's the most volatile of the 4.
Right.
Not just because he plays Johnny Storm, but I feel like his acting is like the most primitive.
We saw him in Stranger Things.
We saw him in Stranger Things, and we saw him in Gladiator 2.
Yeah. And he was in actually Warfare, which I have not seen, but I heard that he was really good in Warfare.
I haven't seen it yet, but I think he's the most unknown quantity. Let's go with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I feel like although he was in Stranger Things, he was. I don't know. Sometimes when you go from the small screen to the big screen, it is there's a reason why they're called. One's called the small screen, one's called the big screen.
Correct. Yes.
There's a huge jump. And I just feel like he's the most likely to, if there's going to be a fall, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
But not saying that I don't think he's going to do well, but just,
Yeah, we'll see. Hopeful. I said hopeful multiple times. We'll see how it turns out. All right.
Hopefully, it'll be
We will
fantastic.
be reviewing it, obviously. MCU property. So, moving on, we go back to a Netflix release, and the only reason this is on here is because it is a sequel to a movie from like 30 years ago, and it's Happy Gilmore 2. Adam Sandler is still doing Netflix movies.
Yep.
Not a lot of bangers for him with Netflix.
Yeah, he's making himself so much money though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's dude. So much money. So much
Yeah.
money. And I do think this is going to make money as well for him because Happy Gilmore has a pull still. People are still quoting it. People are still talking about it. And
I mean, it is. I mean, it's a really good movie.
yeah.
Like it
Oh,
is.
yeah. Absolutely. And it's a sports comedy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
sports
those do
comedies
well.
generally do well for the
Yeah,
most part.
you have to be really bad to not do well as a sports comedy.
Correct.
You
Yes.
know, like you have to really like do something really, really wrong.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to review it on the podcast, but we will definitely be watching it. I think
Yeah.
it is. I think it is a must see. To be honest with you, whether it's a must see because it's an absolute train wreck because it's doesn't live up to the original movie at
Yeah.
all, or it's a must see because it's absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious. And
I hope for the very least it'll be a nice nostalgia train.
yeah, that's a,
Like
that's
that I need it to be hit that floor. I do like the fact that they essentially. It seems like they pretty much got every cast member that they could get back.
yeah.
You know, but yeah, so like that is something that I am happy to see. I'm happy to see that McDonald's coming back and
Yeah.
and Julie Bowen's coming back.
Ooh,
And
is Ben Stiller coming back as the the nurse
from what I have seen, he is
Yes,
listed.
yes.
And
Such a
so like that would be
like pound for pound, like in the original Happy Gilmore, like Ben Stiller's performance, in
like
that
yeah,
is
like
so
erratic,
elite. Yeah,
just like this psychopath.
yes, oh
It
yes,
was essentially it was White Goodman like before White Goodman was White Goodman.
yes.
You know?
Oh gosh, dude, that's so good. So yeah, Happy Gilmore 2, definitely checking that out. All right, in the themes of reboots, we get The Naked Gun, starring Liam. we get a Liam.
Liam Neeson.
Yep, we get you can't apparently have a Naked Gun movie without a Liam in the star
Apparently
role.
not.
So anyway, Liam Neeson is the star role. Um, so obviously Leslie was it Nielsen was
Yes.
the original one.
Yes.
So there's a play on words there, I think.
Yeah, I do wonder how much they just did it just because their names
We're so
can
similar.
like throw off your mind when you say them.
It's impossible. Like Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. Like
Yeah.
you honestly you have to think about it.
And it's interesting because they're so different,
Yeah.
like actor history wise. Like their
True.
filmographies
Yep.
are just so different.
Yeah.
Like everything that Leslie Nielsen did was essentially a slapstick parody comedy.
Yes. Yes.
After they found out that what he could do in Airplane
right.
was essentially everything after that was just him just being this insane person.
Yes. I do think that that Liam Neeson will do a good job in this role because he has this dry comedy.
He
that
does.
Is so good, man. Like what was it? Is it Ted? Right? Was it?
Yeah, he has that one scene in Ted.
Yep. And then he's got a scene in ATL
Yeah.
that is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. And even like he's this kind of ridiculously over the top dude in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's that's a good point.
And he is teaming back up with Seth MacFarlane, which out of the three entities that we brought up, Seth MacFarlane is attached to the other. It's two of the three.
Two of them. Yep.
So I do think there is some room. I'm kind of hoping that you know Seth MacFarlane can be a little bit reined in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he can get a little nuts on the big screen. I feel like I do feel like there's some scenes where like here and there you're like I don't know if he needed to do all that.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
this isn't Family Guy. Like
just from the trailer alone, there's gonna be scenes that are just like, what in the world are they doing here? Like
yeah.
the one scene from the trailer that got me was the end of the trailer when they're all looking at the
Yes.
picture frames of their the original people in the movie, and they're like apparently their parents or whatever. And they're
Yeah.
like, he says like, "Oh, father" or whatever, and it goes down the line, and it gets to O.J. Simpson's son, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Nah, I'm not gonna touch that."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I'm not
like,
gonna get that. And I actually really do like his second. Well, I'm hoping maybe he'll be his second, like the the role play of Paul Walter Hauser,
Ah,
because that
yes,
dude is like,
yes.
he's a weird kind of like sneaky kind of funny, like when he does stuff, and he has
Yeah.
this weird like,
But he can do really good serious work
he can
too.
do really good serious work too.
Yeah.
Yes, he certainly can. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in there.
Yeah.
Like he has some interesting things. Like his role in I, Tonya was really good. I
Yeah.
feel like
Blackbird, he was really good in too,
yeah.
man.
I've heard, I haven't seen it, but I know that he was. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
There's one other, I think, comedy role I'm thinking of, like where he just plays like this. He usually plays just like an idiot. He reminds me a lot of like Zach Galifianakis in the Hangover movies.
He was in that Clint Eastwood movie too, where he was the
Jewel,
Olympics, yeah,
yes,
bomber, right? That
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Well, he played Richard Jewell.
Yes.
Yeah. Or he doesn't actually play the bomber. He
Okay.
plays the guy. Uh, at least I don't think he is in that. I don't remember the story specifically.
I don't. Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
he's
think.
just literally the dude who found the bomb.
Ah,
You
okay.
know, and
Okay.
then it's about him, like, kind of dealing with,
He's not the bomber. Like
yeah, like
him.
trying to decide, trying to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. It's good to have a good comedy over the summer. So if this hits, that'd be great. All right, moving on. This one is 100% on here for nostalgia purposes only. I have very low hopes for this one. But Freakier Friday, we get
Oh my.
Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis returning for, you could tell the age of the podcast host by the
Yeah.
fact that we included Freakier Friday on here. Anyway, the trailer looks like, hey, it's a movie and it's
Yeah.
nostalgia grabbing and it could be funny and
I don't think.
I don't think it's gonna be funny.
I don't think it's gonna be any good. The only positive I will say is that they got back Jamie Lee Curtis and they got back Lindsay Lohan,
Yeah.
even Chad Michael Murray.
Yes. Yes.
So, but I do think it's like, this is like, we've exhausted all our
Yeah.
other revenues of money.
This kind of this kind of strikes me as like, we had a couple million left over at the end of the year. Let's just go ahead and make this
Yeah.
movie because we can.
Yeah, like it was like essentially. What's interesting is Jamie Lee Curtis has kind of had a little bit of a rebirth
Yeah.
recently.
Big time. Huge.
And Lindsay Lohan has rehabilitated her career as well.
She
It's
has.
interesting seeing like they're being able to get to a point where they're relevant enough for this sequel to actually happen.
Yeah.
So it'll be
True, very
interesting how it
true.
plays out.
Because I mean, even though they were cheesy holiday movies, Lindsay Lohan's Netflix movies, recent ones, were actually pretty good.
I mean, I know she's become like, she's kind of taken over that like Lacey Chabert type of role on
Yeah.
some of those movies. So she's definitely kind of like back in the public zeitgeist.
I don't think I'll necessarily go to the theaters to watch this one.
Yeah,
But I do have the
well,
unlimited pass, so maybe
honestly,
it might
I'm-
be
I'm-
worth a watch.
honestly, I'm definitely gonna be in the theaters to watch
Well,
this.
it's your wife.
Yeah,
So
like she's gonna want to, and honestly, she's gonna want to take her mom. Like she's gonna want to take her mom, because that was like one of the first movies they went to go see
There you go.
together.
There you go.
And yeah,
All right, and all right, moving on to the next one, and this one's on the list because I believe it's Spike Lee and Denzel Washington. How do you
Yes.
not have that on a summer movie blockbuster list? Because these two, when they make movies together, do a phenomenal job. But it's called Highest to Lowest.
yes. Also, Jeffrey Wright. Like,
That's true.
That
yes,
is
yes. That's key. That's big. Because Jeffrey Wright he's got some Marvel backing now as the Watcher.
Yes.
But he was also in what was it? American Fiction, which was a really good movie last year. But this is also I did learn that this was a retelling of
of Akira Kurosawa.
Yes, yes. So I'm interested to see Spike Lee's spin on this because
Yeah.
it could be good, man. I think this movie has a lot of potential because,
Yeah.
dude, I'm a huge Denzel fan, man. I love music.
I don't know how you couldn't be a fan of Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah, no, this guy, honestly, he plays generally he plays the same character in almost every movie,
Yeah.
but
But he just
even in Gladiator
oozes-
2, right?
Like, he just
But
oozes charisma that is just like, You can't you
dude.
can't help but be just like, oh,
Yeah,
that's the coolest dude in the room.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, being able to have a conversation with this man would be incredible. I feel like
Yeah.
he's just that kind of guy. So that's why the movie's on here. Um, I'm very hopeful for this. I think this is going to be a fun ride, and I think Denzel is going to give a performance of a lifetime. So, all right, moving on to the next one. This one just looks wacky and fun at the same time. Did you watch the trailer for this one? Next one, it's called Honey Don't.
Honestly, out of let's see, the four ones that are here
Mhm.
on that are not remakes,
Yeah,
which would be highest to lowest, Honey Don't,
caught stealing, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Caught Stealing, which we haven't got to, of course, yet. But like you just said,
Hmm.
and what was the other new one? There was one more on here
That's
that,
not a remake, you said?
yeah, I think there was because I thought there was four. Anyway, F1. I
Oh
guess
yeah, yeah,
F1 would
F1.
be the
Yep,
other
yep,
one.
yep, yep.
Honestly, like I was like, oh my, like this one grabbed me.
It
I
did.
was
This
like,
one is sneaky. Like I think it might be the movie of the summer potentially.
yeah. And I honestly the biggest thing that grabbed it for me was the fact that Chris Evans looks like he's gonna play a villain, which
Yes,
like
Chris Evans as a villain. We need this.
yeah, and honest, I love him in that role. Like like we've seen him so much as like the hero, and I feel like when he plays
Dude,
that
Knives Out,
villain,
man.
like
Knives Out.
Knives Out, even the Gray Man, like that, which the movie overall wasn't that was did
But he
not
was
live
good
up
as
to
a villain.
expectation,
Yeah.
but he was a phenomenal villain in that. Like I feel like the beginning of Red One was
Ah, yeah.
before
When
he
he was
kind
a
of
when he was
went,
a douche.
yeah,
Yeah.
when he was like that, he's compelling in that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I gravitate to that role of his,
Yeah.
you know,
But then this also has, I feel like, the up and coming like it girl, Margaret Qualley.
which actually she's gonna be in Happy Gilmore too.
That isn't that okay? Great, let's go. She honestly, she's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah.
She's one of the nepo babies that deserves to
Yes.
be where
Yes.
she's at. And so I'm looking forward to her in this role because she plays these like character roles of like I say wacky too much, but like what eccentric
Yeah.
yeah, these roles very very well, and
Yeah.
she's got a unique look to her where she's captivating.
Yeah. Like
She's not necessarily like overly like attractive or pretty, like she's, yes, for sure, she's a very pretty actress, but she's got a uniqueness to her where you're like
yeah.
there
Yeah.
you're
She
engaged.
doesn't look like the traditional like cookie cutter
Yes.
actress that sometimes ends up in leading roles. So I do understand what you're getting at
Yeah.
there.
She's got this gravitas to her.
Yes, like
Yeah.
she definitely looks like, and this definitely has like a slightly off kilter feel to it, just
Yeah.
like movie wise, and from the way the trailer seems like it's going to play out,
Yeah.
and so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I also love the fact that the two other like leads, what I've seen, look like they're going to be Charlie Day and Aubrey Plaza. How much they
Right.
actually end up in the
Yeah.
movie, who knows? Because sometimes they'll have somebody listed like that, and they end up only being in a couple of scenes. But I do like, I'm a sucker for both of them.
And she's like a bondswoman, right? Or a detective? Private
She's a
detective.
private
Yeah, yeah,
detective.
yeah.
It looks like Aubrey Plaza is an actual police officer.
Interesting to
Yeah.
have that as a
What?
role.
Yes, that'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see. But it does seem like she's gonna get a little like dirty
Yeah.
in like helping out this private detective. And then of course Charlie Day, like anything. Charlie Day is just like just let him be a little wacky.
Just
like
let him loose. Let him
yeah,
loose.
like and he will give you like just
Yeah. So
ridiculous
should
moments.
should be a good movie. Should be a fun movie.
Yes.
And the final movie to close out the summer season, because it is late August, and the only reason that this movie is on here because it has, my opinion, he should be like an up and coming. He's
Like a stud.
stud. Austin Butler.
Yes.
Is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
I said up and coming. I was wrong. He's already here. If you're not paying attention,
Yeah.
like he's already here. He just has a way with his movies that he chooses. Like I don't know. It seems like he's very selective. I feel like because he could
Yeah.
literally be in every movie, and but he's not. He's choosing these. He's choosing movies like Caught Stealing, where it's literally a guy who stumbles across a friend of his who needs him to babysit a cat, and then
Yeah.
turns into a whole
Yes.
mob thing. And then he was in Bike Riders last year with Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
and that movie. I don't know. Did you watch the movie or no?
I haven't watched it.
Dude,
No.
it's a good movie. It is a good movie, and Austin Butler is a
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I do think, like, honestly, I think if that movie had done better,
Mhm.
you'd be talking about him being as
Yeah,
like top 4 or 5 actors in Hollywood right now, like hottest.
I still think he might be top 5. To be honest with you.
Like, I do think it's a little more questionable now
Yeah.
because of that.
It's
Because I
not
think
as
that
clear
because I
these
think that was the
days.
movie that was supposed to be pinpointed as like, okay, this is the rocket ship.
Yeah.
Because like moving from Elvis to Dune 2, and
To
then
Bike
if
Riders.
Bike Riders had been, because it was essentially like, okay, you're doing a biopic about like legitimately the most famous singer in in history.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be in a huge franchise
Yeah.
and
Right.
do well, and then it's like, okay, we're giving you an entity of your own.
Mm.
Let's see where it goes. And it didn't do as well in box office, at least.
Honestly, the
As
reason it didn't do well was the release date. I
Yeah.
think it got caught in that shuffle of the hustle and bustle of the start of the holiday
Yep.
season, in the holiday season, that kind of thing. And I think it got buried because if you watch the movie, it is a
Yeah.
good movie.
Yeah.
It is a very, very good movie, and
It-
he is good
yeah,
in the movie.
I'm not saying, like, I think he's like done a phenomenal job,
Yeah.
and like I just think that's kind of like been his. He just had a little hiccup. Like I said, I think he would have been like legitimate top
Like
5,
solidified himself as
but
top 5. Yeah.
and like I don't think he's. I think he's probably more like top 10,
Yeah.
top 15.
But then
right now.
it also has Zoe Kravitz, who
Yeah.
the brief sample size that I've seen from her, she's actually done a really good job. Like,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, she might have been the best part of Birds of Prey. To be honest with you, like,
she was. I mean, she was solid in it. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I think.
And then and she was interesting in the Batman.
Yep.
Um, and honestly, although I feel like I'm gonna hate her character in this movie,
Oh,
like
for sure,
honestly,
for sure, for
like
sure.
she just seems like she's a manipulative girlfriend,
Yeah.
and like who's gonna like kind of push and prod her, boyfriend into something that
Yep.
he doesn't really want to be doing.
Yeah.
But like that's a whole other thing.
And okay, all right, Shimada, this is gonna mean something for you and me,
Okay.
specifically. So anybody else listening, you're gonna be like, what the heck's going on? So Matt Smith, he holds a special
Dude,
place in our
yes.
heart because of Doctor Who, right?
Yes.
But I feel like if this movie or him in this movie does not go well, like, should we stop casting Matt Smith in movies and just like
I do think he's like
he's overreached?
yeah, like I feel like a lot of his like movie roles have not done particularly well.
He's good. He's
Maybe
good.
I think it's possible that he's a small screen actor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if he doesn't do well in this movie, or the movie doesn't do well, period. Like,
Yeah,
is this his time? Like, should we just stop casting this guy?
Yeah,
in
'cause, like,
movies and
look-
keep him to the silver screen?
just look at the um, just look at the splits, in between his TV and movies. TV, Doctor Who, House of the Dragon.
Yes,
All right,
he's great in both those. Shows.
well, let's go to his movies. He was
Morbius, done.
in Morbius, and
Yeah,
he was also in the Terminator movie. If you
That's
remember,
right, I do, yeah.
was it? Was it Genesis? Maybe.
yeah, it was the most recent one.
Yeah,
So,
well, not it actually wasn't,
oh, wasn't?
because it was Dark Fate is after.
Oh, I
That's the craziness
I
about
forgot about Dark.
that's all about how crazy the whole universe has gotten. Honestly, although that movie Genesis had the downfall of them literally destroying the biggest plot point in the trailer. They're just like, we're just gonna tell people.
Yeah,
But yeah, but anyway, like in that he was not great in that either. But yeah, and definitely Morbius was he was even worse.
yeah.
He was yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you may be correct. Like Matt Smith, maybe he needs to stay on the small screen.
Yeah, and he had a role. He had a role in The Last Jedi, and it was completely cut from the movie.
Huh. I don't remember that specifically, but like, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe he just was that bad.
yeah.
Like, who
So,
knows?
So we'll see. But anyway, Caught Stealing, star power with Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler. Austin Butler, dude, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So that closes out the summer movie season. Shimano, overall, how would you rank this summer season slate of movies?
It's weird because it seems like every year we're like, oh my, there are so many summer
Yep.
movies coming out.
Banger, banger,
But
banger.
once again, I'm like, it's the same thing. It's like there are so many movies that I want to watch that are coming out, and I do think we got a good mix of movies
There's a
that
good genre mix.
some
There's a good
there's
genre
a good
mix.
genre mix.
Hmm.
I do. I mean, there may be a couple that pop up, but it is crazy to think of just like the quantity of sequels that we're
Yeah.
looking at, essentially, or same universes at the very least.
Right.
Whether they're sequels, prequels, reboots,
You
whatever.
thankful to have the unlimited pass this summer?
I am thankful to see
You've
unlimited
already
pass.
earned your keep with that, right? Like it's already
Yeah,
paid
like
dividends. So
honestly, considering the fact that like in one night I literally watched Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible,
yeah,
so like essentially I just made up for that month in one night.
there you
You
go.
know?
That's it. So yeah, I am looking forward to this summer. I think yes, it's got a bunch of sequels and reboots and same universes, and but I do think that there's some quality to them. I think
Yeah,
that the acting behind it and the production team behind it is going to be it. But I think it goes to say like keep an eye on the four movies that are originals. Like go see
yeah,
F1, go see Caught Stealing, go see Highest and
yes.
Lowest.
Like at least watch the trailers and then support them. If you're gonna
Right, honey,
like,
don't
like
be there for it.
yeah, like show out, like because that's the only way that Hollywood actually knows that you want original content is by you where you put your money. We live in a capitalist society,
Yeah,
whether you like that or not. Where you decide to put your money will help sway businesses to making decisions.
yeah, exactly.
So like if you desert F1, then they're gonna be less likely to back
Racing
a,
franchise.
a racing franchise, or just like racing an originals movie. Same thing. Honey, don't
Yeah,
like especially those mid-range movies. Those are gonna be the movies that are really hurting right now.
yeah,
So like support them.
yeah, exactly. Well said. All right, we've gone on way too long. That's what happens when T-Roll's not here to rein us in.
Yep.
So if you don't like the length of this episode, blame T-Roll. And yeah. So anyway, we really appreciate you guys for listening. Go ahead and give us a like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening. Follow us on the socials at Royal Geek Pod. We really do appreciate a 5-star review. That would be fantastic. But yeah, anyway, for Shamato and myself, Sandy, we really do appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for listening to the Royal Geek Podcast. And we will see you next time, you peasants.